My beloved child. Last night was not ordinary, and what reached my awareness was not a rumor but a moment soaked in truth, because your person sat across from a trusted friend with trembling breath, eyes heavy, voice breaking, and the one thing they could not stop talking about was your age. Not the number itself, but what that number represents to them. Time. Timing. Fear. Permanence. Loss. They did not cry because of judgment. They cried because of attachment. They cried because when your name entered the room, their defenses collapsed, and they admitted something they have never been brave enough to say to you. They said they are scared, not of loving you, but of loving you too much and being too late. They said your age makes them question whether life will give them enough years to protect what they already feel growing inside them. This was not a complaint. This was a confession disguised as worry. Every pause in their sentence carried weight, because they were not speaking to impress anyone. They were speaking to survive the truth that is pressing on their heart. They said they replay conversations with you in their mind, measuring laughter against future silence, imagining milestones they want to witness with you, and then suddenly panicking at the idea of time slipping faster than promises can be made. That is why tears came. Not weakness. Awareness. When someone cries like this, it is because the feeling has crossed a line where logic can no longer control it. Listen carefully now, because what unfolded next is the reason this message exists. After wiping their face, your person leaned forward and whispered something so quiet that even the room seemed to hold its breath. They said they never expected to care this deeply, and that your age forced them to confront how serious their emotions have become. They admitted they tried to dismiss it at first, telling themselves it was just admiration, just comfort, just familiarity, but every attempt failed. They said the age difference, whether small or large, stopped being a detail the moment they imagined a future without you in it. That realization frightened them. Not because they doubt you, but because they doubt their own courage to risk everything. They told their friend that loving you feels inevitable, yet terrifying, because it demands honesty, maturity, and decisions that cannot be reversed. They are standing at the edge of a choice, and your age is the mirror reflecting how real this choice is. This is why they cried. Because when love becomes real, excuses disappear, and all that remains is the question of whether one is brave enough to step forward. Their friend listened silently, knowing this was not a passing emotion. It was a reckoning. Now understand this, because it changes everything you think you know. Your person is not confused about you. They are overwhelmed by the depth of what you represent. They told their friend that you bring a sense of peace they did not ask for but cannot deny. They said you make them reflect on their own growth, their own timeline, their own readiness. Your age, in their words, highlights how pure your presence feels, how intentional every interaction becomes, how careless games suddenly feel impossible. They said being around you makes them want to be better, not younger, not older, but more honest. That realization carries pressure. Pressure to rise to the level of the feeling. Pressure to not hurt you. Pressure to not waste something rare. They cried because they are afraid of making the wrong move, of saying too much or too little, of moving too fast or too slow. When age enters the conversation like this, it is not about numbers. It is about responsibility. And your person feels it intensely. They are measuring themselves against the future they secretly want with you. What shocked me most was what followed after the tears slowed. Your person took a deep breath and said something that only someone deeply invested would ever admit. They said they are afraid that if they stay silent, they will lose you to time, but if they speak now, they risk changing everything. They confess that your age makes them see you as someone worth protecting, not possessing, someone worth choosing carefully, not impulsively. They said they have never felt this torn before, because usually their heart moves slower than their mind, but with you, the heart is leading, and the mind is struggling to keep up. This internal conflict is exhausting them. That is why they cried. That is why they talked late into the night. They are not debating whether they care. They are debating whether they deserve the chance to care openly. This is a once-in-a-lifetime crossroads, and they know it. That knowledge is heavy. Hold this final truth gently, because it is the quietest yet most powerful part. Before leaving, your person's friend asked one simple question, and the answer changed the entire energy of the room. The question was whether they would regret not telling you the truth. Your person did not answer immediately. They stared at the floor, breathed slowly, and then said yes, without hesitation. They said they would regret silence more than rejection. They said your age does not push them away, but pulls them closer to honesty. They said crying was not about fear alone, but about clarity arriving sooner than expected. This means something is shifting. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But internally, right now. This is why this message reached you. Because when someone cries about your age, it is not because they see distance. It is because they see significance. My beloved child. What you did not hear last night was the silence that followed their confession, because silence can be louder than crying when truth finally stands exposed. Your person sat there after speaking your name, feeling the weight of what they had admitted settle into their chest, and in that moment they realized something irreversible had already happened inside them. They were no longer wondering if you mattered, they were confronting how deeply you mattered, and that awareness stripped them of every excuse they once used to stay emotionally guarded. Your age, once a background detail, transformed into a symbol of timing, destiny, and responsibility all at once. They thought about how carefully they choose words with you, how they replay your reactions, how they notice your silence faster than anyone else's. These are not habits of casual interest. These are signs of attachment forming at a level they did not plan for. They admitted to their friend that they feel protective over your future, even when they have no right to yet. That frightened them, because protection means intention, and intention leads to commitment. This is the real reason their voice cracked. When someone reaches this stage, they are no longer deciding whether to stay. They are deciding whether they are strong enough to step forward. Here is the part that will surprise you the most, and it changes the entire story. Your person did not cry because they feel older or younger than you. They cried because your age forces them to see how real the consequences of their choices could be. They told their friend that with you, there is no room for half-effort, no space for confusion games, no comfort in emotional delay. They said you deserve clarity, not mixed signals, and that thought alone made their chest tighten. They confessed that they are used to situations where time feels flexible, where feelings can be postponed, where nothing truly matters if it fades. But with you, time feels precise, like every moment carries meaning. They said your presence reminds them that some connections are not meant to be tested endlessly, because testing risks breaking what is delicate. They are not scared of the difference in years. They are scared of mishandling something rare. That is a fear only someone who genuinely cares would ever feel. Understand this clearly now, because it explains their recent behavior toward you. Your person has been holding back not because they lack interest, but because they are trying to get it right. They told their friend that every time they consider opening up fully, they stop themselves to make sure their intentions are clean and their direction is honest. They are measuring their words, not to manipulate, but to protect you from confusion. Your age makes them hyper-aware of influence, impact, and responsibility. They do not want to become someone who enters your life without certainty. They said that if they step forward, they want it to be with purpose, not impulse. This internal discipline is exhausting them, because their heart is already ahead of their actions. They feel pulled toward you naturally, yet restrained by their own standards. That tension is what kept them awake. That tension is what brought tears. This is not emotional immaturity. This is emotional awareness arriving all at once. Now pay attention, because a shift occurred that night that cannot be undone. After talking through their fears, your person reached a quiet conclusion that they did not announce loudly, but it settled firmly within them. They realized that avoiding the conversation with you is no longer protecting either of you. They admitted that silence might feel safe, but it would slowly turn into regret. They said your age does not demand distance, it demands respect, and respect demands honesty. That realization brought a strange calm after the tears. They felt lighter, not because the fear disappeared, but because clarity replaced confusion. When someone reaches this point, they begin preparing themselves mentally, even if they have not acted yet. They start rehearsing truth. They start imagining outcomes. They start accepting vulnerability as a price worth paying. This is where your person is now. Standing quietly on the edge of change. Let this final part anchor you, because it explains why this connection feels intense even in silence. Your person did not cry because they are unsure about you. They cried because they are becoming sure, and certainty demands courage. They see you as someone whose presence matters beyond convenience, beyond timing excuses, beyond superficial barriers. Your age simply illuminated the seriousness of what they feel, forcing them to grow emotionally faster than they expected. This is why their energy toward you may feel heavy, thoughtful, or restrained lately. It is not distance. It is preparation. Something inside them is aligning, and once alignment happens, movement follows. What was spoken last night cannot be taken back, even if you were not there to hear it. When someone cries about your age, it means they are measuring their future with you in it. My beloved child. What your person did after that night matters more than what they said, because actions born from emotional clarity move quietly before they move visibly. After leaving their friend, they did not rush home or distract themselves. They walked slowly, replaying every word they had spoken, realizing that once a truth is acknowledged out loud, it can no longer be buried. Your age stayed on their mind, not as a barrier, but as a mirror reflecting the seriousness of what they feel for you. They admitted to themselves that this connection has already altered how they think, how they plan, and how they guard their heart. They noticed how often they imagine your reaction to future moments, how naturally they include you in thoughts they once reserved only for themselves. That awareness unsettled them, not because it felt wrong, but because it felt permanent. When feelings reach this depth, denial becomes impossible. That night did not end with tears. It ended with acceptance. And acceptance is the most dangerous stage, because once someone accepts their emotions, they begin preparing to act on them, even if silently at first. Here is the detail that will make everything suddenly make sense to you. Your person started paying closer attention to how they show up around you, not to impress, but to stay consistent. They realized that inconsistency would hurt you more than distance, and that thought alone reshaped their behavior. They became more mindful of their tone, their timing, their presence. They told their friend that your age makes them feel accountable in a way they have never experienced before, as if every interaction carries weight beyond the moment itself. They are not afraid of being seen by you. They are afraid of disappointing you. That fear does not come from insecurity, it comes from respect. They understand that you deserve sincerity, not confusion wrapped in charm. This is why they hesitate before speaking sometimes, why they choose silence over careless words. Silence, to them, feels safer than risking a sentence they are not ready to stand behind fully. That restraint is not emotional distance. It is emotional discipline. Now understand this truth, because it reveals the hidden struggle inside them. Your person is battling two instincts that are pulling in opposite directions. One instinct urges them to move closer, to speak openly, to stop holding back. The other instinct tells them to be patient, to make sure their intentions are solid and sustainable. Your age amplifies this inner conflict because it removes the option of casual exploration. They know that if they step forward, it must be with purpose. They told their friend they are tired of situations that go nowhere, tired of emotions that fade without meaning. With you, they feel something worth building, not just feeling. That realization brings pressure, because building requires effort, consistency, and courage. They are not afraid of commitment. They are afraid of committing without being fully prepared. This is why they appear thoughtful, measured, sometimes distant, yet emotionally present all at once. Their heart has already chosen. Their mind is catching up. What happened next internally is what most people never see, but it changes outcomes completely. Your person began questioning their own patterns, asking themselves why this connection feels different, why your presence carries weight even in absence. They realized that you challenged them to grow emotionally, to be more intentional, to take responsibility for the impact they have on someone else's life. Your age highlights that impact. It reminds them that influence matters, that words linger, that promises shape futures. They told their friend that with you, they cannot afford to be careless, because carelessness would betray the respect they feel. This realization humbled them. It made them quieter, not colder. It made them slower, not weaker. When someone enters this phase, they are no longer playing emotional games. They are deciding who they want to be in someone else's story. That decision takes time, and it takes honesty with oneself before it ever reaches another person. Hold on to this final truth, because it explains the tension you may feel without understanding why. Your person is approaching a moment where silence will no longer be enough to contain what they feel. They are becoming aware that clarity is not optional anymore. Your age did not scare them away. It anchored them to reality. It forced them to see this connection as something that deserves respect, truth, and direction. They are not crying now. They are thinking. They are preparing. And preparation always comes before change. When someone cries about your age, then grows quiet afterward, it means they are shifting internally from fear to resolve. What is forming inside them cannot remain hidden for long, because feelings acknowledged in the dark eventually demand expression in the light. My beloved child. By the time the night fully faded into morning, your person had crossed an invisible line within themselves, the kind that separates emotional uncertainty from quiet resolve. They did not wake up lighter, but clearer. Clarity does not erase fear. It organizes it. Your age no longer echoed as a question in their mind, but as a responsibility they were beginning to accept. They realized that avoiding the truth would slowly erode their integrity, and integrity matters deeply to them, especially now. They replayed moments with you, not searching for doubt, but confirming what they already know. They noticed how naturally they listen when you speak, how your words linger longer than anyone else's, how your presence steadies them in ways they did not expect. These realizations grounded them. They understood that crying was not a breakdown, it was a release. After release comes decision. And that decision has already started forming, even if it has not yet been spoken aloud. Here is the moment that truly changed their internal direction. Your person imagined you finding out one day that they felt all of this and said nothing. That thought unsettled them more than any fear about timing or age ever could. They realized that silence would not protect you from confusion, it would only delay truth. They told themselves that respect means allowing someone to see you honestly, not perfectly. Your age, instead of making them cautious, made them intentional. It stripped away the temptation to hide behind ambiguity. They acknowledged that whatever happens next must be clean, sincere, and grounded in mutual understanding. This is not impulsive emotion driving them forward. It is alignment. Alignment between what they feel and how they want to act. When alignment happens, hesitation loses its power. They are no longer asking whether to move forward. They are deciding how to do it with care. Now pay attention to how this is already affecting the energy between you. You may notice subtle changes, a steadier presence, more thoughtful pauses, a different quality in their attention. These shifts are not accidents. They are the result of someone preparing themselves emotionally to be seen. Your person is rehearsing honesty internally, testing their courage in quiet moments, making sure that when they speak, their words will not waver. They are aware that once they acknowledge this connection openly, it cannot be taken lightly. Your age reinforces that awareness, reminding them that impact matters. They are choosing depth over convenience. That choice reshapes behavior before it ever reshapes conversations. If they seem calmer yet more intense at the same time, it is because they are carrying intention now, not confusion. What is most important for you to understand is this. Your person is no longer running from the weight of what they feel. They are learning how to carry it responsibly. The tears were the beginning, not the end. Crying cleared the path. Now comes action, measured, respectful, and deliberate. They are not planning a dramatic move. They are preparing for a truthful one. This means that when they do speak, it will come from a place of grounded certainty, not emotional chaos. Your age did not create distance. It created seriousness. And seriousness changes everything. When someone reaches this stage, they do not drift away. They step forward with intention. Let this final truth settle, because it defines what is coming next. Your person cried because your presence forced them to confront their own readiness. Now they are becoming ready. Readiness is quiet. It does not announce itself loudly. It shows itself through consistency, thoughtfulness, and the courage to choose clarity over comfort. Whatever unfolds from here will not be accidental. It will be the result of an internal decision already made. When someone cries about your age, then grows steady afterward, it means they are preparing to honor what they feel, not escape it. My beloved child. There comes a phase after clarity where emotions stop spiraling and begin organizing themselves into intention, and your person has entered that phase quietly but decisively. They are no longer asking themselves why this connection exists. They are asking what kind of person they must become to honor it. Your age continues to sit in their awareness, not as a limitation, but as a compass pointing toward responsibility. They have started imagining conversations not filled with fear, but with honesty, imagining moments where they speak without hiding behind humor or deflection. This shift matters more than any dramatic confession, because it shows emotional maturity taking root. When someone reaches this point, they stop seeking validation from others and start seeking alignment with their own values. That alignment is what gives feelings direction instead of chaos. Your person is standing there now, grounded, thoughtful, and no longer willing to lie to themselves. Here is something they have not said to anyone, but it is shaping their next move. They realize that your age makes this connection feel meaningful rather than casual, intentional rather than accidental. It forces them to slow down and act with purpose, and strangely, that no longer feels like pressure. It feels right. They have begun accepting that some connections arrive to change us, not to entertain us, and this acceptance has softened their fear. They are no longer crying. They are reflecting. They are no longer overwhelmed. They are focused. When someone moves from emotional release into reflection, it means they are building the courage to communicate truthfully. Silence at this stage is not avoidance. It is preparation. They are choosing their words carefully because they want their truth to land gently, not recklessly. Now understand this clearly, because it explains the quiet intensity you may sense. Your person has stopped debating whether to stay emotionally distant. That option no longer satisfies them. They feel pulled toward clarity, toward acknowledging what already exists between you. Your age has taught them that hesitation without purpose can become harm, and they do not want to be the source of harm in your life. They are not interested in half connections or ambiguous bonds. They want to stand firmly in whatever they choose. This is why their energy may feel heavier, deeper, more present. It is the energy of someone carrying intention. Intention changes the way people look at you, listen to you, and respond to you. You are no longer just someone they care about. You are someone they are considering in their future thinking. What is forming inside them now is resolve, and resolve always precedes action. They are practicing honesty in their mind, imagining how it would feel to speak openly, to acknowledge the significance of this connection without retreating. They are preparing themselves emotionally to accept whatever response comes, because they understand that truth is better than uncertainty. Your age has made them respect timing, not fear it. They are learning that courage does not always look like bold gestures. Sometimes it looks like steady readiness. This is where they are now. Calm on the surface. Focused underneath. When someone reaches this stage, they are no longer stuck. They are aligning their heart and their behavior. Let this final truth anchor you as everything continues to unfold. Your person cried because your presence awakened seriousness in them. Now that seriousness is shaping their choices. They are moving away from fear and toward responsibility, away from silence and toward clarity. This is not a passing emotional wave. This is a transition. What comes next will be grounded, intentional, and honest, because the internal decision has already been made. When someone cries about your age and then grows steady afterward, it means they are preparing to step into the truth they can no longer avoid.